Hail, weary podcast traveler and well met. I see your adventure through the depths of the internet has led you here to sliding into the DMs. Now, this is not a podcast for the dirty boys, as the name implies, but rather a D&D advice and creative concepts podcast where these three nerds take your questions, suggestions, and pop culture influences to turn them into playable content, making goofs all along the way. This show is for everyone, from level 1 adventurers just stepping into the realm of D&D to the level 19 Dragon Slayer. Their aim is to help both players and DMs alike. Even Gary Gygax needed help sometimes. Just ask Dave Arneson. So step into our tavern, take off your cloak of Elvenkind, and spend some time sliding into the DMs. Roll for initiative.
Okay, boyos, before you announce your initiative tonight, I want to mix things up a little bit. Okay. So I want you to think back a little bit. Go into your little brain television there. Okay. Remember last time, or when we very first started talking about making this podcast, one of the reasons we wanted to actually make it was we were talking every day about campaign ideas. And the original thought was that might not even use all of these, but I bet you there's someone out there that can. And so I kind of want to get back to that idea a little bit. I want to run through some campaign ideas that we are building for our next campaign, which our campaign 2 that we're getting ready to launch. So before tonight, I did ask both of you to come up with some ideas for campaign 2. And then I thought tonight it might be fun to actually flush out those ideas. People can see our process, see how we do it, and also if we don't end up using some of these, or even if we do, then they have some fun playable content they can use as well.
Got it.
Definitely. Yeah, it's been a while since we talked about our campaign creations.
Yeah, and it might, be fun to start doing this in other episodes too. I mean, not like a whole episode where I think I asked you guys to bring quite a few different campaign ideas, mostly probably what we're going to do tonight, especially because it's a little low on the questions tonight. So it's kind of a good episode to do that. And then we can, every once in a while, or even once an episode, throw in one of our campaign ideas, flush it out, and then do our other segments and questions as well.
Okay.
So with that said, what is your initiative? So who's going to roll through their campaign idea first?
Well, I rolled a 6.
11.
Dang, I'm back on top again.
Dang, look at him go.
Back again with the high rolls.
Hey, Bruce, you want to look at this dice right here? See what it says for me?
That would be a 2. And then a 0. That's a nat 20.
That's a nat 20, folks.
Well, why do we even roll? Why do we have to announce?
Yeah.
I thought it was fun.
You should have said, don't even worry.
The suspense was better. I liked it.
Oh,
nat
man.
20, boys.
Before we jump into this, I just want to say, when you said you wanted to mix it up, I thought we were going to have like a keys in the fishbowl type of thing.
Oh, no.
Like, what are we doing? What are we mixing up here?
Oh, no. I don't know if I'm ready for that kind of mix-up.
Yeah, so
I talk a big game, but I don't mean it, guys.
It's not that kind of mixer.
Oh, man.
All right, so I guess I'll go with my campaign idea I had. So my wife and I realized we had...
My wife.
My wife.
Realized we had a bunch of DVDs, like an entire bookshelf full of DVDs, and we never watched them. So recently we started going through them all because we wanted to see, hey, what DVDs do we even have? And there was a lot of movies I'd seen, she'd never seen, and that she had seen that I'd never seen, because those different ones we brought into a relationship.
Got it.
We started going through. One of the movies she had that I'd never seen was Australia with
like the continent.
It's like the continent. Yeah.
Country?
This movie involves Russell Crowe and Nicole Kidman.
I'm already ready for it.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
But anyways, there was one part in that movie that I thought would end up being kind of like, as I was watching it, I'm like, D&D campaign idea.
You're like, I'm rolling right now. I'm rolling all these things. I'm seeing all his rolls. Yeah.
Yes. So this was, which happens a lot. That's kind of like where we get a lot of our different ideas, just everyday life things that we see, and we turn them into campaign ideas. Basically what happened in the movie was the whole time they're building up this relationship with this native kid, half Aborigine kid, which kind of like the half elf stigma to it, because he was half Aborigine, half white person. So the whites didn't like him because he was Aborigine, but then the the Aborigines didn't like him because he's half.
Yeah.
So he's not full enough to be in their tribe.
Yeah.
But the whites don't like him because he was black.
He's less than in both views.
Yeah, so they called him a Milky. So in this, the two people that actually do enjoy this little kid and take him on are Russell Crowe and Nicole Kidman. And then this movie's set kind of World War II time. And right before Japan attacks Australia, Russell Crowe is gone. Nicole Kidman is helping with the war effort. And this kid ends up getting rounded up by the locals. And they take him to an orphanage on its own island called Mission Island. And turns out that's like going to be one of the first attacks from the Japanese is this Mission Island because it has a radio tower on it and stuff. And so they have to launch this massive rescue mission. So in my mind, I'm like, man, if we throw this into a campaign where we have this little, half elf
NPC
kid and introduce him to the party and then like get that sympathy card from the party and they kind of take him on a little bit. And he helps them with little tasks here and there.
He's bullied or something, and they come in and help him, and then he helps them.
He starts helping them in their campaign quests.
Yeah.
And they realize this kid's a really good kid, and he has tons of potential and stuff.
He just has a hard life.
Yeah. But then one day, like, he's just gone. And they're like, what happened to this half-elf kid? And then they find out that, oh my God, he got taken by, rounded up, taken. He's over on this other island. Which I thought was kind of cool because, like, our next campaign, we're setting up
island-based.
Island-based. So just a little island off of one of the main islands. And it's just for these kids like this. And it's almost like an imprisonment camp, but it's just for orphans. And so they want to hopefully, go save this little kid or whatever. What are your guys' thoughts on this?
Man.
And where do you think you want to take it?
I'm already coming up with a good way to work this in because we haven't really gone over it a lot yet, but in our island, the way we're kind of DMing and setting up for all three of us to DM in it, we all have different regions that we're controlling, and Trevor is going to be controlling part of a fire-type elemental island that Bruce is also controlling with two almost warring nations. And I thought it'd be perfect because this is a good way to let your fire elemental island peoples to have to be the one with the kids, Trevor, and then whenever it's rounded up, your samurai-based ones go and take the monks or the ninja-type fire genasi's peoples.
Yeah.
And when they round it up, you'd be your shogunate that's rounding up his monks.
Yeah.
And when they do that, it's a good way to blend it into where the party is choosing if they want to help the shogunate round up these kids and play a more evil campaign style or like a lawful evil type pot, whereas you'd be more like the chaotic good with your monks. And if they wanted to help you, they'd help bring down the shogunate. So I think it'd be a good way to kind of drop it in there to where there's all the main islands of the volcanic chain.
That would be a good reason,
tension point,
a good tension point, and a reason for them to stealth in and get this kid. Hey, if you do the stealthy and no one knows about it, then you're not angering either side. But if you get caught, you're going to piss these people. You're picking a side. You're pissing these people off.
Yeah, before we get too far, I think the base knowledge you need to understand kind of most of our second campaign is a lot of our races are elemental based. So the base race of this entire realm is the elemental 4. So you have air genasi, which is air type elemental / humanoids. Then you have water genasi, which are water humanoids. Or water elemental humanoids, and you have earth genasi humanoids, and then you have the fire. And so the earth genasi being the larger grouping of humanoids in this region are a stronger, militaristic, more advanced kind of civilization as civilizations go in D&D. And then you have the air genasi, who are very nomadic. They don't really have a land of their own. They kind of float and blend with a lot of the other nations. So you see them kind of everywhere and nowhere at the same time. You have the water, who are very strong and formidable, but also
I'd say a little more chaotic.
Reserved, chaotic,
spread out.
Yeah. They're not quite focused enough to be
instead of
a
an
huge
empire
threat.
It's more like small villages and groupings of individual societies.
And then you have the fire genasi, who are a same level, I would say, as the earth genasi, just not as in
Just
greater
divided.
numbers. Yeah, and they're fighting internally with each other because they have two different structures that they're going through an internal kind of civil war over. And so that's where that tension between the monks and the samurai or shogunate kind of comes into play, where they can play on those tensions between, well, you have this little monk boy has a hard life because the other, shogunate children are
Let's put him in
beating
our
on him
schools and reform him to our
exactly
beliefs.
because he's young enough. Maybe we can reform him to follow the shogunate, and then but still during that he's going through all of this hardship and strife and stuff like that. I like that a lot.
And obviously there's other races throughout. It's not like it's
yeah,
sectioned
but
off
that's
to
just
only.
like the meat of the
those
races.
are the
area.
main locals. It's kind of a Galapagos Island kind of feel to it, to where over many years this is how these races evolved in the world.
Yeah,
based off the elemental lives that they kind of lived around.
Yeah,
but I think to get it really where they're really going to get the sympathy for this character, like I said, because the thing was this kid didn't fit in with either one. So if we're making him as a monk and he's just being oppressed by the shogunates, then he obviously is going to have all these monk people that he does have as his people.
Yeah.
But there has to be something that also is going to separate him from the monks, so the monks don't accept him either, and he's isolated, where the party is really going to be his only friends. Or someone that will feel for him and is not totally racially biased or whatever on this.
Yeah.
So
the shogunate is very unaccepting of other races other than fire genasi. Like the whole idea between the fire genasi islands is that they're protected from other races. They haven't let anyone in without killing them or keeping them prisoner for hundreds of years. And just recently in this game, when our party comes into it, is when they open up the islands for tourism. I'm putting air quotes, but
I can see
opening it. Opening it for tourism of people to come view and share their funds and in culture with the Fire Nation.
So what if like this kid is the offspring of like a fire genasi like mother or something, but the father was like a nomadic water genasi or air genasi or something, where he has a physical trait that's going to be different. Like maybe he is he's living with the fire genasi and has fire genasi complexion and stuff, but if he breeded with a water genasi or what was the underwater
Tritons.
The Tritons.
No, not the Tritons. You had the
Sea Elves.
The Sea Elves.
Okay.
So what if it's partially Sea Elf? So where he kind of still looks fire genasi, but he's got like a gill.
Okay.
So then like it's something that separates him, where hey, the water genasi isn't going to accept him because he's a Fire Nation kid. He lives above ground. All this stuff.
Well, there's a lot
water
of
elf, but then the fire genasi doesn't accept him because he's got these skills. He's part water elf. He's not clean. He's not.
He's not pure.
He's not pure.
Yeah. So there's a lot of homebrew content that Nick has shared with me for our campaign that we're playing now that we thought might be a cool way to introduce into our game, just because you guys like to play with different kind of stuff. But I think that would be something to introduce here for sure, of mixed genasi races where, maybe he's half fire, half air. So he's a, firestorm genasi now, or he's half earth, half fire, so he's a magma genasi now.
I was thinking even like a glass genasi, earth water, or, earth air, or fire earth.
So he's some kind of genasi. Well, I think one of the bases has to be in fire. So he has some reason for being there, but now he has some kind of opposition because he's a mix.
Yeah.
So I think water and fire, a steam genasi. Or a cloud genasi, or fire and earth, like glass genasi, or magma genasi. I also really like the idea of air and fire. I'm not sure what mixture that would be. Maybe I would think firestorm, like just heightened fire abilities, but because of that, he's volatile. Because I would imagine air genasi being,
and that would be a good reason for them to want to control him, because he's fire and air.
Yeah, the reason why they're trying to integrate him, but the others see him as an outcast, anyways. I could see him possibly being either water and fire or earth and fire, because those are the two other main classes out there. I think any other mixture of the two, like any non-genasi race, I think it'd be like breeding mules and zebras. Like, it's not going to work. They're the same kind of genus, but it's not going to work. Like, they're humanoid, but it's not the same, so it'd have to be some kind of genasi class we mix it with. So you have fire, and air, fire and water, and fire and earth. So I think if it's any of those, I think the most plausible would be fire and earth, honestly.
Or fire and air, since the air tribe's totally nomadic. They can just pop in. So that makes sense that the dad popped in, or even the mom or whatever popped in, did the dirty.
Yeah.
And then,
left a baby.
And then bounced out because they're nomadic.
Yeah.
Maybe the dad doesn't even know he has a kid because he just had this one night stand with this fire genasi and gone.
How about it's a fire genasi male who is of some kind of ruling class. An air genasi woman, beautiful, elegant, flowing, mysterious, comes into the land while he's young. They flirt. They get to know each other. It's forbidden because this land has been locked out for so long. And it's like 15 to 20 years before this land is supposed to be opened up. I think probably around 15 to 10 years, actually. And then, so they have this wonderful night together, and then she's gone. Like the wind,
or she stayed.
No, well, what I was saying is
like a breeze through the willows.
Like a breeze through the willows, she's gone. And then 10 years later, on his doorstep, is this boy.
Well, and
the woman that he loved.
Is it royal? So he's part of the shogunate, or is he or is it like a high standing member of the monk tribes who's part of the old regime before the shogunate took over?
I think if anything, it's got to be of the monk, because then it's even more forbidden. So the monks will not want this offspring of this air and fire genasis, and the shogunate will not want this offspring of the air and fire genasis because he's not a pure fire genasi. So he shouldn't actually be inherent to this land. But so 10 years later, this kid shows up.
Now that he's here, though, so he shows up.
So because his father is royalty or a higher rank, he's considered of the old world. So he has a certain amount of respect, even within the shogunate. They have to understand that there's some kind of respect needed there to keep the monk under control. Because if they disregard all of their traits, then they have a full-out civil war. Whereas right now, it's just kind of feuding nations in the same nation.
That they would cast him out and don't even accept him as a member of the family or recognize him as a member of the family. Thinking. So he's just a beggar on the street.
So I was
even that fits too with our whole, not pity me, but our whole pity this NPC scenario.
Well, so let me give you a quick backstory of what I was thinking here. He gets dropped off, left on the island with a note or something that says, "Hey, this is your kid."
Yeah.
This old
high monk, whatever, is my father. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's like, "Well, I don't know you. I don't recognize you. Get lost."
Imagine Elf.
He wanders around the island. Eventually, stumbles upon an old fishing shack or basically a small hermit's abode that takes him in and raises him for a couple years.
Okay.
But then during the scuffles between the shogunate and the monk tribes, this old man ends up getting killed, and he's left alone. And this is when the party comes to interact with him. He's been left on his own for maybe 4 months, and he's been trying to survive and fish the way he's learned from the hermit.
Yeah.
And he's barely getting by. He's emaciated, real tired. And he's like, "Hey, I can give you guys some food if you can help me with this type of stuff, and we can figure this out. I need some help. I'll help you."
Yeah.
They don't accept me here, and that will be the kickstart for the chain of quests for our party.
I think if you place the burden of responsibility on him too, it kind of guilts the party into interacting, because if you can somehow bring in the backstory of this hermit being a hermit but good at fishing and accepting the people around him,
he was caught as an outsider and led him back to the hermit.
Well, what I was thinking is this hermit was actually fishing for a small village of, sickly kids or sickly people or people who are further from the shore who are having a hard time harvesting. So whenever they would have hard times harvesting, he would bring them fish. Whenever they have an ample year, they'd bring him fruit. So with this hermit being killed, this responsibility to help this group of people who are basically on their own, if they don't have a good fruit yield or whatever their yield is, then they're gonna die. So now he has the burden of responsibility where he's emaciating himself. He's going without food so they can eat. And then the party comes upon him and sees his strife and sees the burden of responsibility on him, so they're more inclined to help. And they're more inclined to get to know this character and this person and this kid who's trying to take on the responsibility of an adult and still get by and survive as best he can, because now he has to. I think if you do that, then you build a character rich in pain and suffering and moral dilemma, that they're the bad guy if they just walk by him and disregard.
Let me throw an idea at you real quick. Even with the burden idea, kind of made it click in my head. So what if the mom is a part of in the beginning, right? When they first meet the kid, the mom's around. The mom actually is also a beggar on the street because, once again, her and the kid were both disowned from the royal family. Like, you're not pure, you're not part of us. Yeah. Get out of here. So they ended up kind of staying on the island. So the party comes across them, and the mom actually is the one that's helping the party to begin with. Ooh. But because she doesn't want to watch the kid's always coming with them.
Yeah.
And then in one of their missions, after they've been acquainted, the mom dies in the middle of their mission. So now they know this kid, and then they feel the responsibility because it was on their mission that the mom died.
Oh, yeah.
So
or because of their actions in the mission, she was seen as a threat to the shogunate, and the shogunate decided to dispatch her.
Yeah, something like they caused the mom's death. Even if they don't cause the mom's death, but just as they know the mom and the kid.
Too, yeah.
I really, really like the idea of the party contributing, though. Having some type of contributing factor to put that guilt on them so that they feel obliged to help the kid.
Yeah, and almost like take care of the kid, becoming the parental figures, and like...
Oh, and then continuing from that, a good way to get the kid taken and put into the orphanage is whenever the mom dies, it causes him to actually cast his first real spell as a fire air genasi combo. And because it's air and fire, it's more volatile than standard fire, and it impresses the shogunate who's on site. You know, maybe it's 5 guards who round up this air genasi woman walking on their forbidden land. They strike her down. The kid gets mad, kills 2 of them in response.
I imagine Whirlwind is one of the air genasi spells, and then Flaming Hands is another fire genasi spell. So combine the two, you have a fire tornado.
Yeah, basically a smaller scaled down version of the firestorm spell.
Yeah, exactly.
So instead of 10 foot squares, you get maybe 2 or 1.
Yeah, or 10 or no 5 5-foot squares instead.
Well, that's still pretty high.
Well, yeah, but it's in his volatile state where he's emotionally charged, so it's like a one-time thing of like a high focus of power. It's like the unleashing
a racial ability.
Yeah, it's like the Avatar's light. When he's broken from the iceberg.
He continues to learn how to do that.
No, but you know what I'm saying. Well, even in his case, he's still a young genasi. He's going to learn how to harness that ability. But like when Aang, the Airbender, is broken from that iceberg, that beam of light shoots up because it's that built up tension and the release of it. So if it's something like that, then
he spent a whole 100 years without that release.
Yeah, it's going to get that focus on him for killing them, and then that brings the party into, well, he got taken, so what do we do? I like that a lot.
So I think now we've kind of have an idea for how to run them through it. We have an idea how to set it up. I really like where it's at right now. I don't want to tweak it too much more. Okay. And I want to also keep things moving. So I want to get on to one of your guys' ideas. I know you had some good ones when I asked you to come up with ideas. So either who wants to go next or who rolled the higher initiative?
Real quick, I think Nick rolled higher initiative than me. Yeah. But I've been sitting on something for 2 weeks because I learned about it and it was so exciting, and it's so...
Spit it out, coward, you won't.
Hit me with it.
So... DM
Get
tools,
on with it.
DM tools, DM aids, stuff for DMs who there's those DMs who go all out. They have soundboards, which Tabletop RPG Soundboard is an app you can use on. It's amazing. It's got so many different scenes. It's got background noises. It's got battle sounds. It's got all this stuff. There's amazing little soundbox apps and stuff out there. Go search them. Sirenscape. You can use it for free, or you can pay for the full version and get even more content. I just learned that there is a type of music called bardcore, and it's new popular songs remixed as bardic style, medieval
and you're telling
style
us this now. You've been telling this for 2 weeks.
Yes.
I could have been listening to this 2 weeks ago.
I think we should pause and listen to one song. Just one song. We won't put it on, but you guys should... Yeah, we're going to pause right now, and we're going to listen to it, and then you guys can go listen to it as well, and let us know what you think.
Oh my God, that was... Wow.
So if you
I have a new favorite genre of music. Fucking favorite genre of music.
So,
that was beautiful.
Bardcore. Go look it up. There's a lot of great songs. What was your favorite song so far?
Chainsmoker, Closer.
Closer by Chainsmokers.
The one I listened to, which was really good because we did end up pausing for a couple songs. Somebody That I Used to Know.
Some of them have lyrics that are accurate to the era. Some of them have no lyrics at all. They're just
My
acoustic.
companions are quite gracious. However, they are loquacious.
Yeah. So, Bardcore, I imagine as one of those DMs who does play music, who does have dynamic NPCs and stuff like that. If you want to have an NPC who's a bard, who your party has to encounter in a bar. You play this song in the background. You look up one of these artists. You can go find their stuff on YouTube and just play that in the background. And then you have that as ambiance. And you can have that as, well, this is the NPC you guys are looking for. They're playing at the bar tonight. So go over there and you'll find them around, nightfall, whatever. And then they walk into that. And you have a dynamic track of a song that everyone knows. So it's going to catch their ear. It's going to be a little Easter egg for your party. And it's going to be something accurate to the times or the style or the feel that you're playing. And it adds a layer. And it made me so happy to hear it. And I sat on it for 2 weeks so I could get this reaction from you boys.
So I hate you for sitting on it for 2 weeks. But let me tell you, Kyle at work is going to love you for sitting on it for 2 weeks, because guess what? Kyle's going to listen to it at work now. Bardcore!
He's playing it on the shop speakers.
Shop speakers are going to be playing Bardcore.
I love it because the name is amazing. Bardcore. I love it. Great. And then what it stands for and like the composing of it and the instruments used are all like medieval style. What is the thing that Nadraj has? He bought a dulcimer. It's got dulcimers. It's got mandolins,
lute, harp.
Lutes. Yeah. All that. It's super rare. It's really good. So I recommend flutes. as DM aids or DM equipment for you to use or tools for you to use
if you really want to build that ambiance.
Yeah, if you want to build the world and the soundscape around it, use...
I couldn't help it.
You gotta turn it off, we're gonna get sued. hurry. So...
Arrow surely hit the apple of mine eye. Come on!
It's so good. So I would use Sirenscape or another soundboard app where they have like battle sounds. They can change the intensity. You can change the environment you're in. All that. Those are great because those are something a DM can just click on a button and now it's set until you unset it.
Another good tip with that I like to use, if you're not recording, so if you're just playing a home game and you're not trying to do podcasting or do an actual play or anything, that way you don't have to worry about litigation. Think of your favorite fantasy RPG video games.
Oh, yes.
Like, Skyrim. I love using the Witcher 3 soundtrack and Final Fantasy 15 soundtrack.
Yep.
So many good ambient tunes. It's really, really
There's
good.
no vocals in it. Most of the time, there's no ads in it. There's a lot of really good content.
I just have it downloaded to my playlist.
Oh, they're even better. But you can go on YouTube and build yourself a Bardcore list that you can just pull from whenever you're DMing. So you use Sirenscape or another soundboard app, and then you use this new little gold mine of Bardcore, and you're set. You have almost full ambiance. You can even set it like, oh yeah, you walk up on a party that's camping and they're, singing around the campfire, and then you play this song. It's somebody that I used to know, and they're like, oh, I know this song. And then it like builds that depth in the world too. And I just love that. So I thought I'd interject that and ruin your guys' life for a second.
Just another little plug. I mean, we don't have no sponsors or anything, but I have a favorite artist that does covers of music, especially anime music. And if you're like me and nerd out on that, check out Taylor Davis, the violinist. Oh man, did she do some good work. She has some original work and then a lot of covers, but they make really good, fantastic ambient music for your game as well.
Lo-fi is really good as well if you're trying to keep something quiet in the background that's a little bit upbeat, a little bit more modern, but still low-key enough. A lot of lo-fi tracks on YouTube will have like
in case
hour-long
you got that
playlists.
cleric that summons a spiritual piano to bust out.
Yeah.
What was that royalty-free guy we were using originally when we were going through intro music and stuff?
I can't remember his name.
Kevin MacLeod.
Yeah. Yep. He has a SoundCloud. He has a bunch of
it's all royalty free. I went through like all 900 of his YouTube videos to find the good ones that I liked.
Yeah.
He has so much content, and it's all.
And if you want to make your road giggle, play Sneaky Snitch.
Yes, it's very good. So I just thought I'd throw that out there real quick. And now I believe Nick had the next highest initiative. So now you can talk about something you wanted to talk about.
Something I'm really excited for on our next campaign is going to be that we're not going to incorporate a very large economy based around gold. And now all the D&D games, everyone knows you stack gold pieces, you get gold pieces. But then when you get to higher levels, it doesn't really matter because you're already loaded out with all these crazy weapons and magic items and Then you just got like, so you can hire servants to clean your, you know, your keep or whatever.
Well, and a lot of our realm is based out of elemental abilities. So what's the need for gold when you can just mold earth, or you can just blast that thing with fire, or, you know, you can just levitate on at will because you're an air genasi. You know? When you have those things, money doesn't really matter. So it's more about material needs and like services. And like, if you're an earth genasi, you can move earth, right? Well, this fire genasi needs their land tilled, so you can pick up a job for, you know, moving earth, which is something you can just do. Now you can get a trade in return. So with an economy like that, gold isn't really...
It's still used, so there's still options to win it, because they're still trading ships that come in and out and trade for stuff, and they'll leave gold, or they need gold to buy the stuff, so it's still used. It's just not the main economy.
Yeah.
What I want to do is incorporate more of a harvesting or acquisition of raw materials for value. So if you're in the Earth Kingdom, you're not going to need a mine for stuff, but it's not going to be as fruitful for vegetables and produce and things like that. So if you can create a small farm on a little piece of property in the Earth Kingdom, well, when you're there, you are one of the more wealthier people because you provide a needed service that they need. You provide a produce. If you're, say, in the fire area on the volcanic islands, you're looking at, you know, a place that's real nutrient rich, lots of lush green growth. But because their fire is more destructive, they're able to build a lot of, you know, kilns and weapon building. The shogunate
for sure is more in
things like that. But they don't really need food. So maybe for them, they need more rare gems from the Earth Kingdom, where you can go to the Earth Kingdom and mine gems and then take it to the Fire Kingdom and trade for what you want there. So it's more of a trade and barter system based off what those people need. So it's not so much, oh, I got 300 gold here, let me bribe you. It's, oh, I don't need those diamonds. I got like a whole bunch at home. Like, they're just normal here in this kingdom.
Yeah,
so then you're going to have to work.
The ground. Yeah.
You're going to have to work and do more of a, okay, you want me to get this done? Well, I have to go get this. So it puts more steps into questing. Yeah. But it makes it a little Estelle of just the straight up, I made these points, here, give me that thing.
It almost forces interaction and exploration. So you're going to have a party that's having to go from one end of the map to the other to do a simple job on the opposite side of the map. You know, like, oh, well, there is a rogue water genasi who lives out here. Well, he can pull, you know, water from the ocean and salinate it, and now we have fresh water that we can put on our vegetables or whatever it is. Or, you know, we need to fill up our well or whatever, you know. Then you have to go find this guy to do this thing, so he can give you so the original guy can give you the information that you wanted in the first place.
But he wants 4 fire fruits, so you have to go to the Fire Nation to get 4 fire fruits, and you have to get permission to go get them. It gives me
Zelda vibes. Yeah, Zelda vibes or Skyrim vibes. I've never played either game, so... But it just sounds like something that would be in either one of those games where it's like, well, you want to do this? Well, you got to go over there and do this first.
Yeah, or I'd say it's kind of more of like a Fallout kind of vibe, because it's more scavenging and picking up stuff as opposed to Zelda, you collect rubies, and in Skyrim, you get gold pieces.
Well, yeah, but you also have quests where you can't just pay the guy to do the thing. You have to go get an object or get a thing or go do something for him to get the original thing you're there for. Yeah. You have to scratch his back so he'll scratch yours. That's how I kind of picture it, as like, I want to, you know, we want to find this map to this secret sword of the Earth Kingdom or whatever.
But it's also more of a like international currencies. Like when you go to Japan or to the UK or something, you know, you have British pounds, or you have euros, or you have you know, yen, whatever the different cases, different types of money. But here it's more of like berries versus diamonds versus weaponry. You know, things of value to barter as opposed to just straight trade value. So everything varies, and there's never a constant value. It's always in flux.
Yeah, it's like a straight barter system. It's like, what do you value? Well, I value this. So it's going to take, you know, 10 times what you value in that to get this, or you can do this thing that I value and get this thing right away.
Yep. And you can I can see that being used for both, like I said, like items, like you're saying, where they can't get items here when they need to barter those other items from a different land, and that'll help a lot. And also, I like the bartering of tasks, like Bruce was saying, where I get a total, because Nick, you've now got me into this playing The Witcher, so I get the total Bloody Baron vibe off it, where I know where Ciri went, but if you want me to tell you where Ciri went,
here's a line of quest I need you to do.
You need to go and you need to find my kidnapped daughter and wife. And
now there's this monster running around.
I don't want to go find this kidnapped daughter and wife. well, that sucks. Then I'm not going to give you the info, and then we're both left empty-handed. So you really want to do this? This is what I need done. Go do it.
Yeah. I know you need this, so you got to do something for me first. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Well, and then another thing, too, is what we've been working on. We're going to put out some bonus content for it, but we're going to adapt the game of Gwent into a D&D style game.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's that card game, right?
Yeah, that's the card game. And and the cards would be another type of currency.
Oh, yeah.
There's rare cards, there's trade-in value, stuff like that, to where in-game, like, oh, you want this thing? Well, I need to see your Satyr card there that has a 3 power and gives a inspiration to what you're playing.
And that's like a card game based game that you can play in game, and we'll go over that in another episode. But it's kind of like a bonus feature to the game, a little side quest or a little collector's edition version of a game. Like, okay, you beat the entire game, now you're level 20 character, but you haven't got all the cards.
Yeah.
So that's just another little side thing they can do for extra little bonus content and lore and stuff like that we're thinking about throwing in the mix.
And then we're also going to throw it in for, like I said, the same kind of barter for jobs and
information
stuff, like
barters.
Hey, you want this information, or you want me to do this task for you? I'm a gambling man. Tell you what, I'll gamble you in a game of Gwent. If I win, then I'll do this for you, or I'll give you this information.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's all stuff we do go over in a bonus episode we just created. So keep an eye out for that bonus episode to come out, where we're going to go over how to introduce the game of Gwent into D&D with a dice-based a game system that you're already using, rather than having to have actual Gwent cards.
And that bonus episode is like roughing out the ideas and the details.
It's our creative process and how we're working through it. We got a good friend of mine, Brandon, who's helping us out. If you're into The Witcher, check out his Facebook page, The Witcher Fan Base. It's a private group, but you can apply to it, and lots of good stuff there. But he's helping us out. He's giving us the breakdown. He plays Gwent a lot, both in game and out of the game in the app. So he's our main source.
Now, when you sign up for that private page, it's going to say no sliding into the DMs. But don't worry, that doesn't mean us. Yeah, you can still like get by that question and still listen to us. Okay.
Slide into our DMs anytime we give it permission.
Yes, we consent.
In fact, we hope you do.
Yeah, we encourage it. Yeah.
Yes, please
come at us.
Give us some questions from you.
It gets dry without your love.
Oh no.
Yeah, you can give us some questions, and then we'll answer your questions, and then you won't have to hear our ridiculous tangents going off like we are now about campaign ideas.
With Nick's logic, lube us up with your questions.
Yes, please.
Oh no, he made it worse.
Dirty.
I want to fill my inbox like Niagara Falls.
So now that you've talked about,
now that you've grossed everyone out,
but so on that note, but not that note. What you were talking about before the gross part, was mining.
Yeah.
Like finding things that mean value,
harvesting
bartering,
resources.
harvesting. Yeah. So a part of one of the things that I brought to the table that I thought would be something to introduce into our game is food-based or consumable-based boons.
Mm-hmm.
And so...
Is this your grapefruit?
Yes, this is the great... So we have a group text between the boyos.
Before we get into it, Trevor, what kind of people do you assume eat grapefruit regularly?
High class, snooty girls sitting at a brunch, and they're gonna have a grapefruit and a water to keep their weight.
I mean, you're not wrong.
For at all.
No, but my mental picture was like
old
Nana.
People.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, old people too, but yeah.
Nana who puts like salt on it or something weird. Yeah.
I'm thinking about the high society girl who's sitting
like,
there at the country club, and I'm gonna eat a grapefruit and this bowl of cottage cheese.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have my water with cucumber in it.
And then I'm gonna throw it up in 45 minutes.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Hey, cucumber water. You put it slices in the water overnight. You get an energy drink
for half the price, fraction of the price.
Full of
electrolytes.
Oh
my god, Stephanie, did you eat an egg right now? Oh my god, you're so fat.
You're gonna be hating yourself tomorrow.
Oh.
This is the worst part of our podcast.
It really is. I think this might need to get cut.
Yeah. So, now it's staying in. So
is it
I was thinking. The thing that immediately hit my head was.
Edits it and he says staying in, so I guess it's staying in.
So one of the things I thought was grapefruit. I realized that I'm an old person because my wife and I snuck away to the beach with our boy, and I don't get a lot of sleep because I'm a truck driver. So I work all day, and then I come home and help out with kids, and then after the kids go down, that's my time for me and time for my wife and time for my son. My wife. And so, a lot of the times I'll stay up a little bit later. I mean, a majority of the time my wife will tell you I'm an old man and I go to bed early, but then I get up early. So one of the things that happened on that little getaway trip was that I got to sleep in. But what also happened when you sleep in is that your wife picks your food for you in the morning. So my wife, she comes back into the room.
Is this my wife thing, like our version of "to be fair"?
No, this is from
Jockin' on Griffey.
Yeah. Bim Bam, whenever someone says my wife, they goes, my wife.
My wife.
Sorry. Yeah.
How have I not heard that? Okay, continue.
Get on our level, that's why.
I know, I need to get 600 episodes deep.
I'm only 300 in.
Oh, okay.
I've re-listened up to 300 twice now. So,
like I said, 600.
Yeah.
I can math.
I can't.
I can math.
So she brought back some oatmeal and a grapefruit, and I was like, grapefruit's a little weird, but okay, I'll eat it anyways. I'm Bruce. I have 3 rules for food. 1, is it edible?
I only heard of 2.
No, there's 3.
Well, I added another one because it makes it funnier. So, rule number 1, is it edible? Rule number 2, is it chicken? If it is chicken, refer to rule number 3. Rule number 3 is refer to rule number 1. So if it's edible, I will eat it. And so she brings me the grapefruit, and I have it on the plate, and I get my spoon out, and I start digging the meat away from the rind. I'm like, well, here we go. This is my life now. I'm going to eat this grapefruit. I'm like, this is going to be the rest of my day. And I took a bite of it, and my eyes perked up. I sat up straight in bed. I was like, oh my God, this is really good.
Real refreshing.
Okay,
I was
Bruce,
like, wow,
how does this apply to D&D?
We'll get there.
Well,
Get to
jeez.
it!
Freaking train.
You know what? Here's
That's
fucking
right.
Trevor train is coming through, bud. Get to it.
So I was telling Nicholas that I know I'm old now, and he's like, well, maybe that's why you're so wise. And then that made the connection in my brain click and say, oh, well, maybe old people are so wise because they eat grapefruit. What if in D&D we make a fruit that makes you wise and gives you a benefit in game? So we have grapefruit in game that if you eat it for so many days in a row, it gives you a boon to your intelligence or allows you to accept another class. Yeah. And so it allows you to adapt another class if you don't have the requirements to it. But the only downfall is if you go a day without eating this fruit, then you lose that ability for however many days you go without eating the fruit. So if you miss a week, you have to eat fruit again for another week before you can get back to the same
So the way I
level.
remembered it was say you have to eat the fruit for 10 days, the grapefruit 10 days in a row, and after the 10th day in a row, you get your +1 to wisdom.
Yeah.
And then you continue eating grapefruit every single day to maintain it. But if you drop 1 day, you start back, and even if it's 1 day, you have to eat for 10 days to regain it.
Yes. That's basically what I meant. Yeah. I might have misspoke because
the what I heard was however long you go without eating is how many days you have to catch back up.
So if you don't eat for 2 days, then you have to eat for 2 days in a row again to start getting it again. But,
well, see, I would just tack those on to the 10 days then.
I would just say it starts because imagine if you've never eaten it your whole life and then you're 25 and you eat this thing. You have to eat for 25 years to get it.
No. It's from the first grapefruit eat for 10 days and then you get that benefit to your wisdom. And then if you go a week without eating it, well, now you have to eat it for 10 days and a week to get back to that wisdom, or you can just start back over.
Yeah, I would say it'd be easier just to keep it at like the 10-day mark and then start over like, okay.
So, but this is something also that your players are going to have to dictate what they do.
Mm-hmm.
If they do not say, okay, I'm going to eat my grapefruit now, or we have some grapefruit, so I'm going to cut half of it and eat half of it now. If they do not say that, then they did not do it.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the things you have to hold them accountable for.
Say you have a druid or a cleric or even say like an astral monk who needs high wisdom, and so they make it a point where it's like, I'm gonna have grapefruit every day to get it up. Well, you have to have a supply of those grapefruits when you go adventure to make sure you can.
And now it becomes another side quest thing of, well, I value grapefruit highly now, so that is something that is valuable to me. So if we can work that into whatever payment for this quest, because I'm about to run out.
Yeah.
I will value that higher and I will do this quest because it's reliant on my level as a monk and my abilities to do well at what I'm trying to do. I need to now make sure I have this in plenty. And so I just thought that would be fun to like play around with other ideas of food and consumables that give you a boon or a benefit for consuming them. So like when people say like, oh, this food gives me life, like, oh man, this food is so good, it's restoring my life right now. But what if there was something in the game that did that?
Like for example, if you eat a bunch of chocolate, people say, eating up chocolate is better than sex.
Yeah.
Well, so you eat chocolate for 10 days, but a certain amount, like it wouldn't just be like, I eat some chocolate. Like you have a bar and you make it last 10 days. Like, no, you have to eat like 40 grams. Yeah. That's probably a lot.
That's probably a lot. I'm not sure, but it sounds like it's probably a lot.
I don't know. I'm the stat guy and I know the numbers.
But you need like, I don't know, like maybe like
2 ounces of chocolate a day.
Like
2 ounces
5 silver worth of chocolate.
I like
a day.
the monetary value to it. Yeah.
5 silver of chocolate every day.
Because it's going to be something that's rare, so it's probably going to be something that's bought with coin.
Yeah. Even though it's barter, there's still going to be a monetary value to kind of gauge its base value as it floats up and down. Mm-hmm. But you eat chocolate, well, because it's better than sex, you get a +1 to charisma.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I could see stuff like that. Like, okay,
I love it.
Here's this dragon fruit. If you eat it for 25 days straight, you gain the breath ability for a week.
Yeah.
Or
a once a day breath ability as long as you keep doing it.
Yeah, as long as you keep doing it after the first initial 25 days.
And it depends on, say, maybe the color of the flesh. Of
or the region it's grown in, or like the stuff in the Fire Nation is probably going to be a little bit more potent, whereas the stuff that'd
be like a fire breath. But if you go to like Earth, maybe it's like a necrotic or a acid.
I was going to say
breath.
Poison or something.
Yeah, or you
acid,
go to water, you get ice breath.
Yeah.
Or you go to air and you get more of like a thunderclap type thing.
Definitely. Like there could be some kind of benefit regionally to the consumables and that can change, and the variable dates in between can be something you can play around with. But that's also something that they have to say. Like they don't just say, well, every night my routine is I eat some grapefruit and then I do some push-ups and I go to bed.
And then utilizing
they have to dictate that every day that they do a long rest. Well, I'm going to eat my grapefruit and I'm going to go to bed.
And then utilizing this as a player versus a DM, you can make it too to where there's not like a list of fruits that they can just seek out to get this. Mm-hmm. As you play, they meet someone who is an NPC or something that they notice eating this food every day.
Yeah.
And they seem a little bit wiser or a little bit smarter or a little bit
they're harder
stronger.
To fool, or they always see right through your lies.
To where it makes them role play more, to where they're using insight checks more often. They're trying to figure out what's going on with this guy. Why does he seem a little bit better than the average person?
Whoa, he's an elf and you just blew fire on that dude.
Yeah.
Like what?
Like the things like that, to where they have to perceive and roll insight to see what's going on, so they have to pick up on it in game.
Yeah. So that was my idea, something I wanted to bring to you guys, and I think we still have room to play around with it. Mm-hmm. But I just thought I'd toss it out there and see what you guys thought.
I just want to mention too, because no one else knows this, but what a dick Bruce is. Because when I said, "Is this your grapefruit idea?" Let me explain why I said that. So no one besides the three of us know this.
And then...
This is what he does. In our group message, he will just send me a picture of something, and then he just taglines under it, podcast.
Yep.
Grapefruit with a tagline, podcast.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I sent him a picture of Katniss Everdeen.
Yep.
Podcast.
Oh, no,
P0DCAST.
Yeah, P0DCAST. And that was my idea for the podcast. They don't know what it means.
We don't know what it means until suddenly, hey, I have an idea, guys. I have this idea about Katniss Everdeen. Oh, that's why I got that picture.
Yeah.
Oh, let me tell you about this fruit. This is your grapefruit thing, huh?
I got a text about grapefruit and the word podcast after it. I have no idea what's happening.
Does that mean the banana is going to be the charisma inducing?
No, I had Nick send Trevor a picture of a banana and a left Converse high top. Because he's not used to it.
The order you decided to send that in, how it came across.
Well, the first order is a person.
All right, bye, listeners. We're losing all of you now.
A person delicately holding and stroking a raw, fresh
Gingerly,
banana.
I would even say.
Just real gently, like this person was taking more care of a banana than Griffin McElroy does when he's eating it.
Oh God,
he hates the vor thing, but I'm glad we're bringing it back.
Okay,
and the next one is an animated banana that looks standard at first and then gets real swollen until the edge of it busts open,
like
revealing
someone's
the fruit.
Squeezing it by the bottom and where it's bursting out.
And then the pill bursts open, and then it shows a wave crashing over. And then the next one is a single left high top convert, and it looks like some type of milky liquid being poured over
maybe,
it, like watery lotion or like 2% milk
conditioner.
And
something.
They did this because they know I hate these vague pictures they send me, so they're like,
what? How does this connect? Like, what are we doing? And that one was,
and me being the continuity guy, I want to know what the hell is going on.
And those were sent in that sequence just because
to mess with my head, because they love screwing with me.
Yeah.
All right. All right, now that we've gotten past that, Nick, there was another idea you had I want to get to because I thought it sounded good. The bound player clothing.
Oh yeah, this one's fun.
What is this?
You know how like when people die in D&D, or you're like in a cave somewhere and like there's just a pile of bones with a real shiny sword next to it because it's a magical item, and the magical item isn't destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking,
Like
what if we
an umbrella staff,
like an umbrella, like a magical umbrella that is trying to catch you with a thrall.
Yeah.
But so a magical item doesn't deteriorate over time like normal clothes or items do.
Yeah. That isn't
I want to apply this to magical transportation. Like if you use the teleport spell or tree stride or some type of spell that causes you to teleport from one location to the other. So if your items aren't magical, you lose them when you teleport.
because you're only teleporting yourself.
Yeah.
And
so
that would
when you show up, you jump in space and you show up somewhere else, you are butt ass naked if your stuff is not bound to
only
you.
your
like
magical
that.
items.
I like that.
And
because
so,
those are bound to you.
Yeah, they're
you
bound
have to
to
attune to them, so they are tuned to you.
And
they are
so,
one with you.
Because there's the spell Identify, I thought it'd be good to incorporate an enchanter spell into the game called Give Identity.
Ooh.
So it's kind of like a magical Sharpie that you use to write your name
mine
on your chonies.
first.
So it's like, oh, these are Nick's Mondays chonies. And you know
These
which
are
ones
his
they
undies.
are. Yeah, they're me undies.
Yeah.
But
I like that a lot. And it also kind of hinders your party from just using the teleport spell willy-nilly without having this enchanting
well, the thing is,
spell.
and they won't really know about this until they try it for the first time.
We're going to the high court. Teleport us there promptly.
So they do that and they show up naked.
Yo, your
so
bits
then
are out.
It's like, okay, well, now that we have our items back and we're all restocked, now they have to go find an enchanter and pay them a little bit of something to cast the Give Identity spell on them.
I love that.
And it's just another little fun tweak to kind of mess with your players a little bit.
That's also something that can force them into finding other side quests and having to do little extra things and to pay for this Give Identity spell. I love that.
I found this really cool sword, but I can't use my teleport spell now until I find an artificer who's going to be able to attune this to me.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm going to lose it as soon as I teleport.
If lost, return to Bob the Greatheart.
Yeah.
So, a little extra side quests they're going to have to go
it's
on.
It's kind of like a little bit of metadata that you throw on a picture or a video.
Yeah. That's a little square.
I love it.
That's amazing. That's really great. I love that. Well...
Do you want to?
Well, we got a couple of things.
You mentioned your Katniss picture you sent me. Do you want to go over your Katniss idea now?
Yeah. So the Katniss Everdeen was an idea that cropped up in my head because of a previous podcast we did where we talked about a time trap where if you do not finish the puzzle and you die, you are teleported to the beginning of the room and it starts over, much like a video game where you have a quick save. Well, you're teleported to the last,
Whereas, like you mentioned, 11th hour.
Yeah, yes. 11th hour. Yeah, where we put the spoiler warning in last episode. Where, you are restarted. Well, my idea was the party comes to an island where, there's some eccentric millionaire or eccentric landowner or crazy mad scientist who is having some kind of tournament. Maybe they're captured, maybe they're taken there by pirates, or maybe some scenario happens where they end up on this island. Well, the Katniss Everdeen idea was, what if it's much like Hunger Games, where it's your players versus NPCs going after a goal, and they have to be the last one surviving. And if they die, they're, like the time trap, teleported outside the playing field, where they can, if they see fit, or if they have the idea to, aid the party still inside by doing things externally, much like in Hunger Games, where you can send gifts, you can send boons, you can send little things. But to do that, they're going to have to do their own side quests of their own. So you have kind of like a split game scenario where you have the party inside the bubble or inside this arena where they have no way out other than to fight, kill, or be killed, or survive. So the party has to try and, maybe it's capture the flag or keep the castle or whatever it is. Maybe they have to defend the castle from, siege. And if they do that, then they progress to the next level. So imagine this as like a 6-shooter where it's, 5 to 6 games of, okay, you guys are here. Well, each time the level progresses, if you died in the last level, you're teleported back into the arena. But if you die during that level before the next one begins, you're teleported outside where you have a chance to aid your party from the outside but that's only done during long rests, short rests, anytime that the team inside is taking a break. If they're not dictating that they're doing something specifically, then your party, who is the dead, air quotes, the dead member, has a chance to do some puzzles or some side quests or rub the elbows or RP with someone and potentially get your party some boons.
So this is kind of like Hunger Games mixed with both 11th Hour and the Suffering Game.
I imagine it as the Hunger Games with Groundhog's Day.
Okay.
And
this is basically going to be PvP, right?
No. Your party is all working together against other parties. So it's other groups of NPCs. So they're not fighting each other unless you want to make that an aspect of it at the end. Like, they get through all these levels, and the last level is last man standing. Gets the big prize, gets the big thing.
Make sure you got some poisonous berries.
Yeah, exactly. And so...
to which the mad scientist running this says, okay, eat them. I've had my entertainment.
Yeah, I've had my fill. You guys fought for 5 days.
Like,
what the hell do I care?
You know what? 5 of you eat it. The 6th one decides they're last. They don't want to die. They win.
Yeah. Whoever is last living gets the prize. And if you die in the last minutes, then, well, you still got your prize. It's not my problem. I just get to keep your prize now because you died.
It's not like Hunger Games. You're not making a statement to the world.
No. The only
They're not going to stop it.
Yeah, the only people you're making a statement to is over the table.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean much. So, I just thought that would be something fun to kind of throw in with the Groundhog's Day idea of you die but then you repeat, or the idea that once you die you're not dead. You still have work you can do. You still have stuff you can do. So you're not just going to sit there and play on your phone and look through Facebook. You're going to actually sit there and think about, well, how can I rub elbows with these people here? Or how can I somehow gain some kind of favor with someone who can send my party stuff? Because I imagine this being like a huge betting thing.
Okay.
Where this eccentric billionaire is running this fighting thing where he has some way of mirroring the image of people running around, much like Hunger Games, where it's broadcast, or they have some way of viewing it through some kind of scrying spell or whatever you want to say, because he's an eccentric billionaire or millionaire or landowner or whatever. He has some way of getting this and broadcasting it to the people he has betting on the games or participating in the games or putting their fighters in, whatever. I just pictured it would be a really fun 6-shooter to throw your party into, throw puzzles, throw challenges, throw combat, throw role play. I kind of felt like I had it all.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe it's something, maybe it's not. We'll see.
I like it.
Yeah.
So we mentioned some bonus content earlier, and another thing that we're probably going to do for bonus content is something we want to call Villain of the Month.
Yeah.
And so I want to give you guys a little bit of an introduction to it. And start it off a little bit, but in the next episode probably we'll have a better way to tell you guys how to get a hold of our bonus content.
Yeah,
and what you can
we're
do
still kind
to
of figuring it out.
Help support us a little bit, maybe if you're willing to do that, or you can, and if not, it's a work in progress. So we're going to get there. But something that was asked to me maybe about a week or so ago was, who's terrifying when they're not smiling? Steven Tyler. To which I replied, who is terrifying when they are smiling?
Who is it?
Steven Tyler.
Oh,
Tyler.
And it made me think of it because, again, I'm a huge anime nerd and I love One Piece. And in the earlier episodes, there's a character named Django who has the real big, kind of like drawn out, wide mouth and has that rock and
what would
roll.
you call it?
Like,
is it a bass mouth? What do they
really
call
a big
those?
mouth bass?
What do they call those bags where it has the opening where it's like it's. What is that
I have
called?
no idea.
It's
Like
tool
thinking of
bags have it.
like a tool bag or like a change purse.
Yeah, where it has that it's a really tight closing point, but when it opens, it's like super wide. I think they call it like a bass mouth.
That sounds close.
Yeah. Anyways, that's kind of what he looks like he has. It looks like he could open up his whole mouth and put your whole head.
He looks
in
like
it,
he can unhinge his whole jaw like a dang python and just swallow you whole.
And just bite your whole head, yeah.
But so I was thinking, Django from One Piece would be a good way to go as far as making a pretty interesting big baddie to build this around. And so Django in One Piece is a hypnotist. He's extremely eccentric, wears real flashy clothes, acts like a rock star.
Can I just say he looks exactly like and acts very similar to Steven Tyler?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if there's a coincidence there, some kind of through line.
Well, when you look at the One Piece universe, you got to compare both Django to Diamante because they both kind of built off that same platform.
Yeah.
But Diamante, I feel, was more they wanted to base it more off Steven Tyler for Diamante, whereas Django would kind of just happenstance ended up like that.
Got it. Okay.
But real eccentric, real fun. So I think it'd be a good villain to use because it gives you a lot of role playing as the DM for him.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with One Piece. I haven't watched. I don't even think I've watched one episode. But give us an idea of his power. Like what does he do?
Is hypnotism.
Okay.
I can't remember.
He weaponizes hypnotism.
Well, he weaponized hypnotism. So where he carries around, a coin on a string, and he can hypnotize you. And he's ignored a lot because it's an unconventional power.
Yeah.
But so in the game, I imagine using him, he's real charismatic, real flashy, and a lot of times he ends up hypnotizing himself. So I imagine he ends up like overrolling. So they're like, you hypnotize him by convincing him this way.
Yeah.
But you failed that one and then rolled really good on the actual like skill check to make it to make it work.
Yeah.
So you did it on yourself and you pass out.
Got it. Okay. So he's kind of like a dopey returning villain.
Mm-hmm.
That would be another. The villain of the month is going to be like a 6-shooter style, where it's someone they come across who can maybe pop back up, or maybe it's just for that short stint, or it's someone who, comes and goes and seems to slip away at the pivotal moment, and then now the party has to keep their head on a swivel because you never know when this dorky hypnotist is going to show back up.
Yeah, so this is someone I'll be working on the stats for, and I'll be statting him out and getting that going, but we're also going to work on building, like what type of region you'd play him in, or what settings to play him in, and what type of quest to build around him.
Yeah.
And
so that's something that we would put in that bonus episode of Villain of the Month.
Yeah.
So in the end, for Villain of the Month, it's going to be basically what we're going to be delivering to you is a fully fleshed out character with a stat sheet, a basic backstory that you can tweak a little bit, and totally ready to go playable villain you can throw at your party.
Yeah.
With essentially like 6 to 18 hour play time for the entire story.
So like maybe 5 to 6 sessions, depending on how long your sessions go. So that we're going to try and put that in a box set for you kind of thing. So, but those will be a part of those Villain of the Month bonus episodes. So, ready to go?
Yeah, let's do our house cleaning. So, don't forget, you can reach out to us. You can email us at emailthedms@gmail.com.
Not Google Mail.
Not Google Mail.
Gmail.
And not email the GMs.
Not email the
email the DMs@gmail.com. We are also on all social media pretty much. So
main social media platforms. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
We should get a MySpace.
And that's all.
Yes, we should.
Oh God, do you want to go super old school?
No, it's made a comeback. Audio
sponsors.
Really?
Yeah. It's an audio program now.
Wow. Okay, so maybe we might be on MySpace after tonight.
You never know. You don't know our lives.
Big changes.
Sit DMs1, SITDMS1.
Yeah.
On those social media platforms to find us.
Yep.
Also, that's where you can find any of our created content, like our Stegomancer, our
people like that one.
Grog, or not Grog.
No, Grawl.
Grawl. Yeah. We've kind of our ill-advised creature creations.
Bruce's ill-advised creature creation corner.
Yeah, those are all statted out, and also with a nice drawn depiction by Bruce.
Hey, that's me.
With our Villain of the Month, you'll get a pretty cool image drawn by our local artist, Bruce.
That's me.
Yep.
Hey, that's me again.
And so all that stuff you can find on our social media platforms. You can also message us on the social media platforms to send us your questions or post on our wall.
Yep.
And we will try to answer those questions in our podcasts.
If not, we will answer you directly as well. If it doesn't make the show, we will still try and respond with some kind of answer for you to help you out. Most of the time, if you send us a question, we're going to try and get it on the show. So,
yeah. And if you do get on the show, we will message you and let you know you're on the show and
what episode to listen to.
And all that. But please do reach out. And other than that, any other house cleaning?
I want to say big thanks to Carter for our intro and working that up to us, working that out for us, and getting that to us. Really appreciate it. Nice to have a lovely voice to lead you all in.
Open up the show with, also, thank you to you guys. Thank you to everyone listening. Thank you for, I don't know if you had to go out of your way to get the podcasting app you have, or if you just found us on whatever one you choose to use. But thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for participating on our page and everything else.
Thank you for giving us ratings and reviews. Really appreciate that.
If you guys could just write a quick review, like good, nice, or...
Really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
These guys are goofballs.
Yeah, it was all right. I like the bald one. Like all those are good. Yeah.
The bald one's so strong.
Yeah, so buff.
Yeah, like, share, reach out to your friends, word of mouth. We're not doing any advertising right
Absolutely.
now. So getting that word of mouth out that we are around is
Huge.
huge.
We
you don't know
appreciate anyone who
how
shares
full
it.
it is right now.
Yeah, we try and like from the page, whoever shares the post.
Mhm.
We try and like it from Sit DMs to let you guys know, like, look, we saw you, we
Yeah.
recognize you, we thank you, and so if you see a like pop up from Sit DMs, it's us thanking you, and just know that. So we appreciate it.
And if you're not listening to us on your favorite podcasting app right now,
Yeah.
we probably are on your favorite podcasting app. Check it out.
How many are we on?
We are on iHeart, Spotify,
Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts,
Podbean, our host.
Podbean,
Stitcher,
and Stitcher.
Podchaser. Are we not on Podchaser yet?
I don't think we're on Podchaser yet.
We're gonna be on Podchaser.
We're going to be on Podchaser. And hopefully one day Maximum Fun.
Yes.
We always keep our fingers crossed
Fingers
for that
crossed.
Yes, please. I mean, we're
Yeah.
not that funny yet, but we'll get there.
Come on, JC.
All
Dry
right,
teeth. Sorry, we're kind of a cult.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
I think that
who
is
wants
about
to
it.
start? Who
I
wants to
will.
do the... Okay. Nick has
Well,
his first little
Hey,
quip.
Nick, do me a favor, though. Before you do your quip, introduce yourself, because we're fools and didn't do that at the beginning of the
No.
episode.
I was
Oh,
gonna-
no,
I
you're
was gonna
right,
cut
you're
it
right.
in after.
I know you were, but this is
Yeah.
so much better. Let us
Oh,
eat our
man.
mistake.
Eat it.
Okay.
Well, I am Nick. I am your stat puncher, formerly known as the well actually guy, but I really don't well actually know all of it. I kind of just put stats in and keep the game balanced. So
Yeah.
change my name there and hope you all like it.
I like the stat
And
blaster.
What is your quip for the night?
My quip for the night is going to be next time you go into ye old shop, make sure you roll a good perception check to make sure that that old hag in the back selling you evil wares isn't a bunch of kobolds dressed up in a trench cloak.
I like it.
Oh,
It's
goodness.
highly specific, I feel like. I think you're narrowcasting there. But hey,
All right, and I am Trevor, now the continuity conductor. Get on this train, or I'm going to tie you to the tracks and run you over with the train.
That's some Wile E. Coyote shit.
Yeah, some Wile E. Coyote shit. I keep these boils on track and
he's got a train
try
whistle
to
now.
keep the podcast
so-
rolling while I can. My quip for the night is if you're doing a puzzle and when you put that piece and it fits together real nice and the puzzle moans,
Oh no! No!
you're not doing a puzzle. You're dealing with a mimic with a real weird sexual fetish.
Can you imagine, like, oh, look at these 3 kitties in a basket full of yarn. Oh!
No! Stop it! It's so good. I hate it. Okay, so my name is Bruce. I was formerly the crazy creative one, and now I am the crazy one. And
Our mad scientist.
yeah, I'm the mad scientist.
Our alchemist.
Alchemist, yeah. One of the others. We'll figure out what sticks. You know what? Shoot us a comment. Post on the page which one you like. Alchemist or scientist. It doesn't matter. But my little quip is, don't forget, as a paladin, you can inscribe crazy stuff on your sword. And one of the crazy things I like for halfling paladins is Efiu te a ke ona u, which is Elvish for I didn't come here to be cute. I came here to snap fucking necks. So, thank you for listening, you guys. We appreciate you. Fare thee well, and adventure onward.